All right, Evan Giddings in for Daryl the Guru Johnson.
That was a
Hopefully Guru will be back
pre-crossover
soon.
bombshell. Sorry about that.
And
sorry about that.
you know,
Oh, God.
What's up, guys?
technically
Hi,
this is our time, as Spicoli
Thank
would
you,
say.
Mr.
So,
Hand.
Dibs and Willard.
These are your ratings. You're
But if you're
to deal with
here
that.
and we're here, isn't it our time?
Well, if this is about the ratings, but it's still my show, maybe I should leave to boost those ratings for our show.
No.
That's probably a good idea.
See what I'm saying?
Kind of like the draft.
Kind of like when you sign an
We'll
autograph.
get to that.
Thank you.
Looking for the segue.
Believe it or not,
Perfect.
Believe it or not, pay the over. I thought the first Steiny shot would come even quicker than that, but 16 seconds in, Evan, you win.
Well, I did fill my quota. I had to hit 3 by 2 o'clock. That was number 3. So apologies, Steiny.
Yeah, what happened to
12
you
minutes.
last night? Have you told the story
Steiny,
on
we
air
talked
yet?
about this. I love you, man.
What happened? No, genuine. What happened?
So I signed up on my phone.
Oh, my God.
Okay, fantasy
I'm not
draft
doing
was-
this.
No,
I'm not doing this.
No, what?
The oh my God every other
All
time.
right, so just come on. You and Dibs have known each other for 100 years. What happened?
I opened an account on my phone.
Okay.
I wanted to use my computer.
Okay.
And when I logged on to Yahoo, I used an old Yahoo account, put the wrong password in twice.
Into the phone or the computer?
The computer.
Okay.
And then
it locked you out.
It locked me out. And then,
Oh, my God.
then I found out the Yahoo account, I didn't even know I had this. It was like Matthew's time at 64. It's like, where
From 1964?
Well, that's when I was born.
Born and raised.
So-
yeah, I did too.
18,
Anyway,
yeah.
and it turned out to be a very stressful night for
For
me.
you. Yeah, just for you, though.
Oh, I don't know.
Was there cussing? Did you throw stuff? What did this look like in your home?
Lucas
You know
called
what?
me. He was
'Cause that's
very
what-
concerned about
right,
you.
like I imagine
Okay.
this, and does
You know
everything-
what? I tried to join this fantasy league. I want to have some fun,
Oh,
and now it turns into a stressful situation.
Well-
Dibley's got now 6 weeks, 6 months where he gets to. It's like, Lucas, I can't get on. What do you want me to do?
No, this is perfect. This finally erases Mavs in 5. And so this will be the new thing.
It compounds Mavs.
I understand that, but
Yeah.
at least let's make him feel good for the day. This will be the new thing that lasts for a year that everyone makes fun of
Not
you
if he
about.
wins the
You know,
league.
you know what's interesting, and
Well,
this
then,
is
then it's cool.
this
And
is where I like
I've
to-
already declared I'm out. I want my money back.
What?
why
Shouldn't
Alan Stiles.
You got 15
auto-drafted.
minutes to make your first pick.
No,
I
he-
got 90 seconds.
He
That's
did not auto draft.
He auto drafted over the course of the draft at
He
times.
claims he auto-drafted a running back.
Yeah, that's
but-
not true. He was
Well,
there.
that's
he was
all
there
I did.
talking to us.
He did
I did
not
not-
prompt the entire proceedings to come to a screeching halt, and I designed my whole baby bedtime. I changed the
So it's
diaper at
about you.
7:52. No, it's about all of us, and that's what. Don't you get it, Matt?
No, I
don't
do.
you get it?
I feel
It's
bad.
not
I-
about you.
Right, I
And
feel
yet,
bad
because
enough
you couldn't
already.
log in. You had to, Lucas. I can't log
Well,
in.
hold
I'm an
on.
old guy.
Hold
I can't
on.
do it.
I'm gonna do something I don't do.
outraged.
Let me get Steiny's back here for a second, because that is a plausible story. It's a plausible story, and the reason there was a 15-minute delay was actually not because of Steiny.
Mm-hmm.
It's because Lucas placed a 15-minute delay that he did not know
Correct.
he couldn't tap out of.
But why did he place a 15-minute delay?
Because you put the pause in when someone's having some trouble with
Okay.
their computer.
we thought,
and
get
that,
me-
and
make-
yes,
yeah.
yes, that is on you. But
no, it's 100% on him.
no, it's not 100%
No,
on him.
it is, because let me ask you this, Mark.
Lucas could have tapped right back out and didn't realize that he couldn't tap right back
Well,
out.
the fact that Lucas even did that in the first place
What do we
was
got, Luke?
because we are enabling somebody who had 10 days. He had 10 days when we all knew when the draft was.
But that's
to
not how
figure
life
out.
works.
That's exactly how
No,
it
that's
works,
how your
Mark.
life works.
And if
Lucas.
you want to enable him, the oldest guy in the league.
Lucas, did you
if
get
want
my
to enable
$100?
him, that's
Was I-
up to
was I-
Lucas.
I was the first
want my
guy to
100
pay.
back.
Hi, Lucas.
I'm out.
Actually, if this is going to be
This is the
I
commissioner.
agree. Let's give Dibs his money back because I want to have
Dude,
fun.
please.
So if we're gonna yell at each other over
Thank
things
you.
like this,
I haven't
like,
even raised my voice
No,
yet.
but honestly, no. But
a
throughout
joke.
through the
It's
chat
coming.
last night, like, are we really in a spot? And believe me, I get it. I got 3 kids, but are we really in a spot that 15 minutes blew your whole night? Because
yes.
you and Spadoni made it sound like that.
Here's under 2 hours.
How
And
many,
I'm like,
how many
It was
kids
not
do you
bad.
have under one?
That would
Zero.
be none.
That would be
Here's
zero.
what I'd say. If you don't
How
block
many
out
teenage girls do you have?
I got one coming up in 14, 12 and a half years.
If
Call
you
us.
don't,
Lucas,
if
call
you don't
us.
block out 2 hours for a fantasy draft, I don't know what to tell you. No matter how many people in the league, this was a 14-team league that we made 2 hours through a draft, a 14-team draft that we did in 2 hours. That's pretty good,
Hi,
even with a
Lucas.
15-minute delay. Hello, Commissioner Alexander here. I don't know if my mic was on when I said
It
that.
is now.
Direct
It's
Yes,
not
sports,
about the
yeah.
total running time.
And
It's
fantasy.
about the special accommodations that were made for somebody who had more than 10 days to get his S in line, get his ducks in a row, but didn't. And so, Lucas, I'm locked out. Lucas, I need a pause.
It's all good. No one wants anybody to auto draft. As the commissioner, I want all
Sure.
14 teams
Sure.
in there having fun, making every pick.
and making mistakes.
Sure,
Yes,
making
absolutely.
mistakes.
The problem
exactly.
with auto draft
because
is it
They
prevents
stole all the top guys.
That's
Exactly.
right. It prevents the person from
And-
making all the mistakes that they make, except for the one who got auto drafted, Jonathan Taylor. That was funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, all I was going to say is that if you want the best player available, like Steiny did, you could have taken. You could have had the exact same strategy that Steiny did.
Sure,
If you
sure.
thought that was the best strategy possible, you
Right.
could have done the exact same thing.
Hold
Well,
on.
he could have done that without needing a 15-minute timeout because I don't know my password.
Okay.
That's
so
all
that's
I'm
why
saying.
you want to leave the league is because there was a 15-minute timeout?
I mean,
Then that one's on
shenanigans.
me because I could have, if we didn't do any timeout, Steiny would have had the exact same team.
Yeah,
that
I
he
blame
had.
Exactly.
Lucas.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll wear that.
Yeah.
That one's on me. I thought
No,
when
I
you're the
blamed him
commissioner
in real time.
I thought that you could create a timeout and then just, resume time.
Well,
whenever
naturally
you
you
want.
would think.
Which I think is
Yeah.
a reasonable assumption.
Yeah, of course.
Because I've watched that 100 times where you pause the draft. Believe me, when we were in Chicago last year for the Niners and the Giants and the fantasy draft, we got started a half hour late because we had a bunch of guys who weren't there and they're in different cities.
Yeah.
And one of the guys who was there with us in Chicago, newsflash, we were coming from a Cubs game and he had too much to drink. And he could not figure out what the hell was going on. It ended up with him throwing a computer across a hotel room
Awesome.
and going for one of those drunk walks that people do. And we will make fun of him for that for the rest of our lives. And it's actually wonderful. I mean, listen, this is a lesson I learned years ago. We were at the Tilted Kilt in San Diego, just outside Petco Park, and we're having a fantasy draft.
gas lamp.
Okay,
Great.
gas lamp.
Thank
We're having a fantasy draft with my high school buddies. These are my favorite male human beings on the planet, other than my two sons and my dad. These are my favorite people, and we were not doing a timed draft, and people were starting to throw French fries at each other because it's like, dude, make your pick, like we all do, right? Commissioner finally stood up. He stood up at the table. And he looked at all of us and he said, hey, you all got somewhere to be? Because I'm looking around and this is where I want to be. We got our friends, there's beer, and there's potato skins. Shut the hell up. And nobody said anything the rest of the night. We had a great time.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So, Commissioner Alexander,
Yes, sir.
Well,
what?
oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to ask you: are you going to allow Dan Dibley to back out? Because you have his money at
Yeah,
this
this
point.
sounds like a threat. Do you actually want to leave the league?
It's the shenanigans
Or is this
that have
a
taken
bit?
place.
Is it a bit?
It's
Can't do it.
The degree of frustration that I'm feeling in this moment, and I expressed it last night for all of you and God Himself to witness. I felt like it was unnecessary enabling of somebody who had ample opportunity to get his ducks in a row. My Yahoo password was entered, and I was able to get in the draft room 30 minutes early because I knew that it was important to me.
I don't even know what
I
mine
feel
is
like-
either. Mine just never logs out.
Yeah.
I feel like
That's right. You need 18. You got 18 fantasy teams. You never log out.
We figured it out.
I feel like there's, I couldn't get in. It was a mistake. I feel bad. In fact, I got all stressed out last night. I didn't think that was going to happen. I realized that there were other people waiting on me.
Man.
Like I do. I wanted to draft.
Of course, that's the fun of it.
So now there are two kinds of people. The kind that understand and the kind that are going to try to make you feel bad
Well
for a
said.
while. And the one thing I've learned growing up is you don't have to let those people affect you anymore. So, yeah, I wanted to draft. I made a mistake. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Here we are.
Here's what I would say.
Was it weird or unusual what happened last night?
No, it was actually
my closing-
Go
It was
ahead.
unusual.
Shut the hell
It
up.
was neither weird
It was
or unusual.
unusual.
It actually was predictable, is what it
was
was.
strange.
It was a
We'll let
predictable
Awkward.
outcome to.
Why do you think you're the most riled up about it?
I think because I know you the best,
Okay.
and I've seen, I've seen a long
Back-to-back tight ends.
I mean, I love my tight ends, and I was going to take a third and a fourth. I love my tight ends.
Unconfirmed whether or not Spadoni is more tick than Dibs. But anyway,
Fair.
that's
Unconfirmed. Here, let me make 2 final points, and then we'll let you pivot over to Niners. My 2 points on this is that if you can't beat a team that auto-drafted, then you don't deserve to win anyways. So that's number 1. It's not like it's a competitive advantage to auto-draft. That's number 1. Number 2, this is why we pay beforehand. So you are locked in. I'm not giving anybody money back. If you want to complain, you can complain. But a team auto-drafted. Big deal.
Okay.
13 other teams drafted.
Sure.
We are in. The league is going.
Did we get a clear answer? Do you want out?
I mean,
do you want to know?
I'm out. No.
Okay.
I mean,
then leave
I
it
do,
there.
but I would
Then
rather.
leave it there.
I would rather ride it out and be able to use this
You're
as
not going to be
fodder.
able to.
That's why we're squashing it
making you
now.
look bad.
That's why we're
Actually,
squashing
no,
it.
I'm not afraid of looking bad, and
Okay.
that's the difference between you and I. Is I'm willing to die on this hill, knowing full well that, and if you do better than me, and if you win or you cash,
cares?
it's because you got an extra
cares?
15 minutes. That's why.
Well, actually, you know what? As long as we're getting this deep into it,
boy.
the bottom line is you're wrong. I didn't have an extra 15 minutes. When it was my pick, Lucas called me and said, I can't get in. He goes, well, make your first pick. I'll make it for you. I said, Kelsey. So-
And he was first up on the auto draft, so I did absolutely nothing. Let
Sure,
the team auto
sure.
draft.
No
and we moved
collusion.
along. Yep.
Well,
And you
I had
ended
something come up later in the draft, and I asked for 15 minutes, and I mean, I was summarily rejected.
Should have
so-
called me.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
yeah.
not true.
I was
feel
doing
like you're
dishes.
lying right now.
I was
Should've
doing
logged down and
dishes.
reset
You
your
did not
password.
ask Lucas for a
The
15-minute
dishes.
break.
Check the thread. Check the chat.
Yeah, but the chat is sarcastic. It's in fact, you're not. I don't think the chat actually posts unless it's sarcastic.
The
chat
chat was-
knows and will not allow you to
chat
post.
knows.
If John responded to it with a laughing face emoji, then it is taken
Yeah.
not as seriously.
He also,
Gotcha.
He also reacted to
I know.
everything
That's what
with
I'm
a
saying.
laughing face emoji. Very
John's here for
easily
it.
amused, which is a wonderful characteristic in
We
life.
need that.
Yeah,
Also, one of
yeah.
the 3 A pluses, Steiny was one of them.
Oh,
Congrats,
John was one of them.
Steiny. Yeah.
And
Great
the
draft.
other auto drafter, Alan Stiles, was
Right.
one of the
although,
A pluses.
Although
I want winners.
I did the work because I was offended at the D that I got because I was like, okay, what are y'all
Cut
doing?
that, please.
So I went, thank you, and then I went ahead and checked why Alan Stiles got an A plus, and he got an A plus because Yahoo's system had not updated that Jonathan Taylor's on the pup list and gave him an A plus because he took the 17th ranked player at 59 overall. Great job, Alan.
Great value.
You're right. You get an
Great
A.
value.
We'll see you in October when your fantasy team actually starts. ... Maybe.
Yeah, he didn't even know who wanted number 1 overall, so I really don't take him much
I
stock into it.
mean-
A pluses are basically the kiss of death, so Steiny, that would be his
Did you
reward.
end up with 2 defenses and 2 kickers? Is that true?
That's true.
It's a strategy.
Sounds like an A plus draft to me.
deep bench.
Woo!
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Lucas.
Kamish.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Kamish. They're coming in, setting it all straight.
Very well. I got a 49er. I mean, how much?
I didn't take one until Mr. Irrelevant. I made JP Mason Mr. Irrelevant.
nice.
There you go.
Just for, just to get a little red and gold juice on the team. I didn't have any other Niners.
Yeah, we got a Kittle owner, Dan Dibley.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Christian McCaffrey. And so someone scooped your guy, Brock Purdy, right?
Somebody did scoop my guy Brock Purdy, but I did make him the inspiration behind the team name, which I know brought up some consternation amongst the group because last year, and this will surprise all of you listeners out there, last year my team name inspiration was Trey Lance. That was and then look what happened. So now people are
So
saying,
you should change the name of your team right now.
well, that was a one-time deal.
There you go.
I
What was your
don't
name
believe-
last year?
Lance of the Clairvoyants.
Okay.
It's also a Pearl Jam reference for those of you who partake.
And this year it's Brock out with your Brock out?
It is
or?
not Brock out. It is not rock out with your Brock out.
Okay.
It's Brockadoodle Doo.
Ah, that's right. That's
Brockadoodle
right.
Doo. Yeah, Brockadoodle.
Perfect.
That's my team name this year.
Awesome.
One of my 2017 team names this year.
Yeah, can't wait till week 1.
Yeah.
I got Nostradamus in week
Yeah,
1. So.
defending champ, tough scheduling.
You
It's
hate
a
to see
scheduling
it.
spot.
Yeah.
You know, when you're an expansion team, though, you expect to get Normally you get a fourth place schedule, but I open up with the champ. So there you have it.
Plus
It's gonna be
4.5.
tough.
You guys have already looked at who you're playing first week. Oh,
It did
actually,
show up, yeah.
I'm playing Larry. That's good.
That is good.
It's really good. That's somebody who has a history of having to wear a thong for 2 weeks because of what
Oh,
happened
no.
between me and him in fantasy football.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
that's a true story.
It was a head-to-head side bet
can,
is what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it didn't go well for Larry at
Man.
all.
Tough.
Well, I mean, speaking of Larry, they had
not
a pretty
go well.
important name on their show this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joe
The GOAT.
Montana.
And I thought he had some interesting things to say, specifically about Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, so one of the things that I thought was interesting that he talked about was like the weirdness comments from Jimmy G and how weird things just happen. I mean, he was in a weird situation. There have been weird quarterback situations in the past. But to me, the amount of time that this situation or room has been labeled weird is far longer than the one that Joe Montana was involved in, and I think operates under a different definition.
Well, that one went on for a while. It evolved into different things, but that was a very drawn out experience, and also at a higher level. Like
Exactly, though.
the Niners are a good team and competing for Super Bowls, but we're talking about a discussion for a year now that has been based on two 23-year-olds. That was based on the absolute. I mean, two Hall of Famers.
Exactly.
Two Hall of Famers. So, I mean, for my money, that one was still way more dramatic, higher stakes, more drawn out than this.
I guess this one's more weird because you had Jimmy on the kiddie field and then he's back, and then you brought in Sam, and then Trey got hurt, and then Trey's a starter, but then he's not, and then you have Sam and Brandon and Jimmy's gone and all the rest of it. So I think that the Joe and Steve was a little bit more like A or B, a little bit more straightforward in
Sure.
terms of, is it Steve? Do you still believe in Joe or whatnot?
I mean, I look at it this way. It always gets weird when a team is looking for their quarterback. That team wasn't looking for their quarterback. They were trying to decide which successful one was
Right.
the right one to do. The 49ers, for a few years now, I guess you could argue in different ways, under Kyle Shanahan, have been one of the teams that's looking for their guy. And that often gets dramatic, weird, unusual. Look at all the teams that, right? You draft someone, that didn't work. We move on to the next. It gets messy. Like, is the Jets quarterback situation over the last 2 years weird?
Yes.
I would argue very much so, right? And they drafted right in front of the 49ers. Even, like, there's been no problem with Trevor Lawrence as a player, but he came in with Urban Meyer. Every report has been that it was awful and weird. Mm-hmm. And then you got a new coach, and he played much better. Like, I don't know. This probably is not as unique, and I know he ended up using that word too. It's probably really not as unique as we think it is. It's just been very high profile.
I feel like every team's got a unique situation until they have their franchise quarterback.
Sure.
So it's a matter of how long the weird situation or unusual situation lasts. I do think it's funny, though. The one guy who could say to Kyle, "Oh, I know why," was Matt Mayoko. One of the guys who goes, "Oh, I know how you made every move." And I thought that was interesting, too.
Yeah, we all do. Like, I said this yesterday, Dibs. Like, this is one of those things. If you just view the whole thing from 10,000 feet, it's messy and odd and criticism worthy. But if you sort of go month by month, I think it actually takes some of the wind out of the criticizers' sails. Like, you can understand the decisions in the moment. When you go from 10,000 feet and go, hold on a second, you got rid of your third overall pick for Mr. Irrelevant? What the hell are you doing? But if you go month by month, yeah, that's what we're doing because he's better. Why wouldn't you? I do think when he timelined it yesterday, it makes it a little bit more understandable what they've been through.
And plus, they're 23-11.
Yeah.
Since they drafted Trey Lance, they've been unbelievable. They've won 3 of 4 in the regular year, and they've won 3 of 4 in the playoffs. So I think that's what, for me, kind of insulates them from any real criticism because they still have won. So if he thinks it's Brock Purdy is the guy, then Brock Purdy's the guy. You went 13-4 last year with Trey, Jimmy, and Brock didn't lose a game that he started and finished. So if that is the backdrop against all of this conversation, then go ahead, Kyle, and do what you think is right, even if it means that you blew it with Trey Lance, and they did, and Jimmy Garoppolo is, maybe not quite bitter, but he's clearly still has a lot to say about the way things went here, yet through it all, you're a winning team and you are a Super Bowl favorite.
I like what Joe said, too. I think it's interesting right now as we all sort of put our cards on the table in terms of what we think Brock Purdy is going to look like, and I totally understand it's completely fair and factual, quite frankly, to be like, we can't write anything in Sharpie yet, but go beyond the masses and the media and get to Joe Montana thinks he's outstanding. Steve Young thinks he's outstanding. Kurt Benkert today, a name that many of you won't know, but was a quarterback room teammate of all of these guys last year once Jimmy went down, or in fact even before. Once Trey went down, Benkert was QB3 to come in behind Jimmy and Brock. And these guys who are obviously so much more educated on it are raving about Brock, this particular system, the fit, what he actually does well. I'm interested in that. When the belief in Brock seems much more so by the people who I think their opinion holds more water.
Yeah, I think, too, also Montana was talking about how, that's why he always was an advocate for Jimmy Garoppolo, because he won games. And I think that that's the most clear part about Brock Purdy at this point, is that he is someone you can win games with. And the one way that Kyle Shanahan, in my opinion, can deflect or avoid, I don't know if it's firing, but just, overall criticism for botching a number 3 overall pick you traded up for, is to win football games. And that's all he's done. And I think that's all he's focused on doing since then. I just wonder, and this is a conversation we were having today about, whether it's what kind of quarterback Kyle Shanahan wants, which one he can work with and mesh with. I wonder how much leash a quarterback gets in his system. And who knows, maybe Brock Purdy is the guy, and he's someone that is going to finish out his rookie contract and be in a position where we're talking about him being here for a long time, and Kyle Shanahan wants him because he can do everything he needs him to. But someone like Josh Allen, we were talking about, for example, if Josh Allen turned the ball over and with this current, like if he's drafted in 2020 and got the same type of path that Trey Lance did, his first 2 years, win now team, Super Bowl contender, and he turns the ball over 20 times a year in his first 2 seasons, I don't know if Kyle Shanahan's the type of guy that lets him get to his 3rd season,
right,
to allow him to make that jump that he did to now we're talking about him being a top 5 quarterback in the league.
And that's what makes this situation so unique. And Mark has pointed this out, is they are in a win now mode, so that Trey Lance didn't have that luxury, and Brock Purdy probably doesn't have that luxury. If he regresses and he starts to turn into a turnover machine, and Sam Darnold is waiting there, and you're 2-4, and you're 2-4 because your quarterback can't seem to hold on to the football, you might have a shorter leash than you would if this team was expected to be the Rams, for example.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want to leave?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was going to say Dibs has done. Fine. Dibs did such a good job. You should make it clear that it was a bit. Your
of what?
anger.
Oh, it was a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I love Steiny, and I love the draft. I love everyone. And you know what, Steiny? Take an extra 15 on your way home.
I will.
Yeah.
Mostly
all right, guys, have a great show.
Mostly a bit.